Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Ponies and gentlecolts. This is the one, the only Criticism Guy 2009, aka Nintendofreak2011. Everyone else, you know the rest. All my subscribers and main viewers and shit. But before I begin, real quick, drinking that last sip of that Powerade. I already had that Burger King shit yesterday, but you know what? It was pretty decent. Had to shit a couple times, which kind of sucked. I know that's too much information, but I gotta be real with it. So yeah, unfortunately, I might have to do a part 2 of this video just in case if I end up getting a distraction call or whatever, or if my battery ends up dying, because I only got like 23% battery life left in this smartphone I'm using, like I always do. And yeah, this is going to be a top 10 best 90s films of all fucking time. Back in my childhood, because I only remember from like 96 to like 99, like half of the years, so before like I was 7, I didn't know jack shit. Seriously, everything was a complete blur. I was just a baby. I didn't remember crap, literally. And because I was autistic or stupid or retarded, I was just kind of a little behind and shit. But I was still pretty much normal, in a way. So yeah, I put green on green today. You know, I was going to use some, red Puerto Rican shit, but you know what? I decided to use the Mexican shit. I represent my Latinos. Alright, I'm not going to be a fucking dick or a douchebag. Let's keep this shit rolling right now. So, number 10, at the top 10 list, best 90s films ever was, at the time I really didn't like this group. I thought they were annoying as fuck, but as I got older, I actually thought they were pretty cool, because only 2 of them actually got successful after they left the group, which was, the little black chick, Mel.B Spice, and then this one right here, Victoria Bekkum, which I forgot her name. I think it was Scary Spice or some shit. I was like 5 or 6 when this shit came out, so I barely remember this at all. So yeah, number 10, the Spice Girls. What can I say about them? I know a couple times in the media, back in the 90s at that time, Christina Aguilera would talk about them, Britney Spears would talk about them. Who else would? Eminem, he made fun of them a couple times, did parodies and shit. I guess these 3 never got famous, but these 2 ended up staying like pretty much on top. I mean, she's married to fucking David Bekkum, so you know she's gonna be set for life, obviously. He's like that English soccer player from London or something. He gets to go all over the world now and shit. And he was in that one little Arab movie called Bend It Like Bekkum. I don't know if any of you guys remember. I was like 03, 04 when that came out, a couple years after they separated. So basically, it's a lot of London band. They go all over the world. They do these crazy little adventures. Kind of has that old school Austin Powers feel to it, because that was in the 90s too. About 2 years later, I think it was 98, 99. Because the last one was like 2001 or 2 or something like that. The one with Beyonce way back then. And I was still like 12, 13 at the time. So, yeah, what else can I say about them? Their songs and stuff, they sucked at the time for me. You know, that was mostly all girls group band. I didn't really give a shit about them at all, but a lot of my girl cousins, they loved the hell out of them. I could not stand it because their music was everywhere. It was everywhere that I turned back in the days in the 90s when I was little and I didn't understand jack shit. You know, I'd hear their music all the fucking time besides that Backstreet Boys and Insane Pop shit. Because in the 90s, that's when pop started getting really fucking huge. In the 80s, it was barely even around because, of course, I wasn't around at that time until 89, but I was a fucking baby. I was just born into this fucking planet. I had no idea what the hell was going on back then. Until I was a little older and I started understanding shit, you know? One last thing I would like about them is that maybe they have the little British accents they usually got, because, you know, they were pretty fucking funny. I'll give them credit for that. So, yeah, that makes number 10, Spice Girls movie. So, without further ado on that, move on to number 9. See what number 9 was. This one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. Mr. Robin Williams, which he's still pretty big now, just not as huge as he used to be. He'll be like usually a cameo appearance or a side character, you know, supporting role. This movie, Toys, was one of the awesomest movies ever. It's kind of like Willy Wonka, but instead of chocolate and candy, it's with toys. So basically, it's about Robin Williams. He owns this big giant CEO company or whatever, and like I think his father or grandfather gave it to him when he died in the movie or whatever. And unfortunately, he doesn't know how to run it as well as his father did, so he's trying to follow in his father's footsteps because, you know, he's got a big giant responsibility to take on, you know, put his big boy fucking pants on and haul ass, you know. One of the most best comedians of the 90s. He was a lot bigger in the 70s and 80s, but in the 90s, you know, that's when I first knew about him because, you know, I was still a kid at that time. And I know he used to do Aladdin and shit at that time, and then he did another movie which I'm going to be putting as number 3 or 2 on the list. You'll see that later on. Another thing that was cool about him is that he did a lot of real fucking awesome-ass movies like Patch Adams, Bicentennial Man, you know. It was fucking awesome shit. I know on Family Guy they did a lot of parodies off of him too, saying, oh, he sucks, he's a piece of shit, which, that's kind of crap. It's a little cool, but you know how Family Guy style is. They're going to be controversial no matter what. Same with South Park and how King of the Hill used to be, you know. But yeah, other than that, you know, Robin Williams on a whole, he's still okay. He's one of my favorite childhood actors, you know. The last one I think I saw him do was like RV in 05, 06, mid-late thousands, a couple years back. When I was still in high school, my junior year, but I thought it was pretty funny, you know. So coming in at then, that's number 9. Hold on a second. Got the Spice Girls out. And just give me a second to show my picks out. 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 8. I never got to see this movie because at that time my parents were super strict with profanity and shit at that time, so I wasn't able to do this. Coming in at number 8 was Bevis and Butt-Head Do America. I didn't get to see this until I was like around 14 in middle school, later on, way later in the early thousands at that time in 03. At that time, I know it was real controversial, Bevis and Butt-Head. You know, they got their start on MTV, which back then in the 80s and 90s, MTV was actually kick-ass. Not until like around the early, maybe mid-thousands, that's when they started falling off and becoming a complete pile of fucking shit. All those crappy-ass reality shows they got nowadays. They should just call it Art TV instead of MTV, you know? But anyways, you know, basically Bevis and Butt-Head Do America, one of the best fucking inventions MTV ever made at that time. I thought they were funny as shit. They were real awesome at that time, very creative. You know, I had Weird Al at that time, a couple other people on the shit. Cribs was just coming out, which was funny. And then it started turning into crap later on after the early mid-thousands came around. But basically, it's about Bevis and Butt-Head. If any of you guys haven't seen the TV show, you should Google it or Bing it. Go on Netflix and get them. Go to Best Buy or whatever you fucking do. Yeah, so basically, it's about Bevis and Butt-Head, like I said. Butt-Head was always a little bit of a more smarter one because he always used to smack the shit out of Bevis, which I thought was funny as hell. And basically, they just go all over the country in a tour, just causing havoc and chaos like a fucking boss for the win, you know? I thought they were funny as fuck back in the day. They used to play a lot of heavy metal, rock and shit, which I'm still not really a big fan of rock and heavy metal shit, but I usually used to listen to underground rap shit, or I'll listen to a couple of techno, dubstep, electronica, trance techno shit, like I always said in there. Maybe soundscape shit, you know. That's what it is. I'm raving shit. But yeah, other than that, they had a lot of comic relief times. Mr. Anderson, which was Hank Hill later on, and King of the Hill, which I thought was funny as hell. I think that was Mike Judge that created the whole show, and that was his voice as well. So shout out to Mike Judge for making this huge-ass legendary fucking cartoon, which was usually for teens and adults, but you know what? I thought it was awesome. All the credit goes to them and all their little studios and shit over there. So, yeah, that's number 8 for you. Coming in at number 7, might be a little bit of a surprise for some of you guys that think I actually got taste in this, but this had to be my childhood, that's for sure. Home Alone, starring Mr. McCally Culkin. He's old as shit now. He's like 30, 31, I think now. And then Mr. Legendary Joe Peshi. I forgot that dude's name. I never knew what Marv's real name was, but I know Joe Peshi was Harry. Funny ass dude. He's been in so many billions of movies back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's way like after he was in The Godfather, after he did Casino and shit. Very huge ass potty mouth on him, but nevertheless, he was an awesome ass dude. I will tell you that. And I'm probably gonna have to do part 2 on this season because I'm probably getting a phone call pretty soon. So forgive me on that ahead of time. You know, basically it's about a kid that gets home alone. He has like 12, 13 brothers and sisters and cousins all over the fucking planet in one big fucking house. And he's supposed to be in Chicago, New Jersey, New York somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, He sets up all these traps for the bad guys. My favorite part was that big giant anvil that he would put in part 1, and then later on part 2 when he was in that abandoned part in New York. Fucking epic as shit. And then that one part where Marv, he puts that big giant tarantula on his face, he's like, holy shit, ah! It was like, what the fuck happened there? Classic epic shit of all time, I'm telling you, man. If you were a 90s kid, you know exactly what that movie was. But part 3 and 4, they ended up turning into crap because it wasn't the same kid. It was a completely different storyline. I didn't watch it at all because it was pura mierda. Fucking bullshit, garbage, bitch assness all over the fucking place. But you know what? Always have a place in my heart for that movie. They usually give it on Christmas time, so if you want to watch it there, watch Netflix. Or usually everyone uses Netflix these days. Or Hulu. Yeah, so with that said, I'm coming in at number 6, and some of you, once again, might be a little surprised. Men in Black. This was like, I think, 98, 99 with Mr. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith at the time. I think 2-3 years after he quit The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, he started getting a lot more bigger before his son Jaden started making movies later on. And before he ended up getting divorced with Jada Pinkett Smith and shit, you know, which kind of sucked about 3 years ago, I think, 2010, 11. But unfortunately, you know what? That's part of life. You got to deal with it. But other than that, you know, one of the best CGI movies, is literally ahead of its time at that time. They even had a little performance with Nick Cannon and Michael Jackson, which Nick Cannon wasn't as big as he was now with that little So You Think You Could Dance show now he's got, and all that other shit, etc., etc. He's a really huge host now. But other than that, it's about aliens taking over the world and stuff for the Men in Black, which are kind of a government like FBI, CIA, DEA, that type of shit. The only difference is that's a little fantasy-made version. They get all these laser guns, all these spaceships, CGI like for the fucking win, literally. This was like a year before the Matrix shit came out, which I'm gonna get to that movie later on. But right now, I gotta give my salutes to this shit. That's a peace out to that one in a good way, The voice acting was good, for the alien part. The acting was there on point, Like I said, it was ahead of its time, And coming in at number 5, I think this is number 5. Hold on. Balloon. Give me guys a second. Coming in at Mr. number 5, Independence Day. Another one with Will Smith. And then I think that Dee and Malcolm that was in Jurassic Park at that time in the early 90s, which they did the 3D last week. I was debating on going to see that or not, but I'm probably just going to wait till it comes out 3D on Blu-ray instead, like an anniversary pack or something. But Independence Day. Another alien movie, except this one has a little bit more of a serious tone. This was like 3-4 years before Men in Black, so he did this movie first before he ended up doing that one later on. So yeah, it's about aliens taking over the world. Like I said, it's a little bit more of a serious tone. There's a lot more profanity in this shit. A couple of sex scenes, CGI at that time was kind of crappy, so it wasn't really CGI. Mostly some of it was mechanical effects, so there was barely any CGI at all. Voice acting was good. A lot of the real acting was awesome. Story plot was badass. I like how Will Smith put that big giant fucking nuke into the fucking big ass giant alien pod, anthropod or whatever you want to call it. Spaceship to be short. And he saved the whole world. The first black guy to ever save the world. Fucking awesome dude. This is before he made I Am Legend, and that other new movie he's gonna be making this year, which is what's it called? Something or After Earth with his son Jaden. So I'm looking forward to seeing that shit too. So yeah, Independence Day. Coming in at number 4, you guys are gonna love me for this one. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, starring Mr. Jim fucking Carrey himself. Actually, fun fact, I used to actually see him a couple times when I used to live in upstate New York. I used to see his comedy shit when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Real young ass kid at that time. I barely knew what was going on. So around 9 or 10, I stopped watching him because he went all tour all over the world and he got super famous at that time. So you know what? Awesome memories of this guy. Real cool childhood memories. For the fucking win. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. It was the first one before Nature Calls. Came out a year after. Basically about him, it's a lot of comic relief, gag reel shit, going on. Just making a complete crazy ass out of himself, but he does it with fucking style, man. And he's going to be in the Kick-Ass 2 movie this year, so it goes to show he's still got the talent, He didn't get as washed up as Robin Williams did, except, there's times where he's just literally ballistic. He's got to do some LSD acid trip every time he does this crazy answer. So I'm just for the fucking win. There's so much win in this, I cannot even tell you where to begin. He was the only famous actor in that movie. I don't remember anybody else at that time, but the only thing I will tell you is his comedy is hit the nail on the head, literally. He did The Mask at that time. He did Liar Liar. He did that one with fuck, I forgot that name. The one where he's like fat and skinny or something. Dumb and Dumber. That one. Oh my God, that was a riot at that time. And rest in peace to Mr. Chris Farley. Unfortunately, he died in like 99, 2000 from a heart attack. But you know what? Shit happens. So yeah, Ace Ventura, he's still awesome as shit, Jim Carrey to the fucking win. Got that one. So coming in at number 3, actually yeah, number 3, Flubber, another Robin Williams movie. Long story short, had a lot of CGI in it, and Robin Williams, he did a good ass job doing some of the voices and shit besides the genie from Aladdin. A couple years before he did this, and he had that little robot called Reboot or something. I thought she was funny as fuck. She was kind of like the robot wife, and he was the one that was kind of a bitch. But I thought it was funny as hell. All the little flubbering things and all that. He had to stop the bad guy from taking billions of dollars out of his bank account, and the rest is history from there. So, yeah, number 3. I'm going to move this along because I only got like 10% left in my battery, so I got to be very, very fast about this. Number 2, Small Soldier, Big Bad. I think this was in 2000, but it was kind of like the late 90s, so it sort of counts. Basically, this was kind of a hardcore rebel version of a lot of Disney movies and DreamWorks at that time, like Shrek. That was in 2001 or 2 at that time. This one was like late 90s, early 2000s. I thought it was awesome as fuck. There was a lot of profanity and cussing and blood involved, but you know what? One of the first R-rated movies I got to see on VHS at that time, like a year or two before they started putting DVDs out there. And Blu-rays, way before that, because I wasn't until 2006, like 7, 8 years afterwards. The thing I will say about this, all the action figures are real cool. I only have 2 of the action figures, the guy in the middle and that really crazy dude. Not the one with the mohawk, the one with the dreads and everything. Fucking awesome dude for the one I used to play with him all the time, my cousins. Very fond childhood memories at that time. Just so much reminiscence, you know. Had a special place in my fucking heart, and I thought it was balls to the wall awesome. Had a lot of action-packed features in it, too. Voice acting was kind of cheesy, but you know what? He was kind of like the Duke Nukem of the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. You know, let's just put it at that. So, coming in at number 1, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to make this a number 1 because this was a trilogy, and then that Animatrix thing came out. It was The Matrix. Sorry, Mr. Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne. I forgot that girl's name, and then that other dude's name was like that southern accent dude. I thought it was pretty chill. Hold on a second. In a nutshell, I think he was pretty boss, you know. At that time, the only movies Keanu Reeves was making was Speed, Speed 2, and then in Constantine, unless no way, Constantine was like 2005, so yeah, he did other movies at that time. He just wasn't super huge like he was in 2000, all the way up to maybe around now, because I think the last movie he made was that Big Planet thing with the aliens taking over the world. I forgot what it was called. It was based off a book novel. It was like a Cyclops that had an eye. Some people say it was Illuminati symbols. It was probably true, but you know what? I only get in there for the action, okay? So yeah, Keanu Reeves, about him waking up to like all the evilness that the government has taken over, you know, which is all these Mr. Smiths, these little things that take over the planet, and they're literally like fucking viruses all over the world. Until Morpheus, aka Mr. Lawrence Fishburne, wakes him up, which I did a movie review for him on my Nintendofreak channel. I think it was here. I did a sample on it, which is called The Colony. I think that's coming out next week or this Friday, I think. And check that shit out when it comes out in theaters near you. If you're lucky enough, bootleg it. Awesome fucking shit. Yeah, he has to take either the red pill or the blue pill, and then he fights all these Mr. Smiths and shit. Lawrence Fishburne is just showing them the ropes, how to do all these crazy-ass martial arts, illegal moves like Taekwondo, karate shit, you know, judo, etc. You know, even some Naruto shit in there. And that's way before Naruto even existed. 2004, I think. Anyways, after that, you know, once he's all fully trained, he's about to kick Smith's ass, you know. Before he does all that, one of the guys, which is that little redneck dude over there, he starts killing all the friends, like Mouse, Rat, and then this other dude, I forgot his name, but he was one of Jada Pinkett Smith's friends or something in real life. And then after that, what happened was he gets all pissed, and then he finds his true meaning that he's the savior, like the Matrix. He's kind of like the Jesus Christ of technology, if you will, you know? No offense to any religion out there, I'm just saying. One more thing I will say about this movie, the CGI was so beautifully well done, especially when they did that epic jump. Even people that didn't know about the Matrix knew he did that bullet dodge. It was just like, whew, like that. That wasn't heard of at that time. This was the last year of the 90s, because it came out in 99 when I was 10. Still had my PS1 at that time, you know. Good memories, and my Game Boy Color at that time. It's truly epic. If they ever make a remake to this, hopefully Hollywood doesn't fuck this up, because it better be damn good. And then one more thing I will say about it, the Animatrix, I guess it was a 50-50 thing. I wasn't too crazy about it. But some of the games were pretty boss, too. I will say that. And I want to show you this bonus one I had. I was going to put this as number 3, but Toy Story. Oh, shit. Hold on. There we go. Toy Story. This is Toy Story 3. I know that, but I couldn't find the first part poster. I had a lot of the cartoons, a lot of the toys and games at that time. I was a huge fan of this. The first one I actually played with was Super Nintendo, and PS1, PS2 after that. Really good-ass childhood memories here, you know. You had Tom Hanks as fucking Woody, and then you had Mr. Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, and then everyone else kind of fell into place after that. And then there's so many other fucking movies Disney Pixar made after this. It was Finding Nemo, what else? So many other ones, even nowadays, like Cars, Up, and then that new one that's supposed to be based off of Cars and Cars 2 is a new airplane thingy. I think that dude Dane Cook's supposed to be playing one of the airplane voices. It's just crazy how technology, it takes 3 or 4 years to make the movies, but it's damn well fucking worth it, I'll tell you that. And How to Train Your Dragon, but that was for DreamWorks instead of Pixar Disney. You know, the voice acting was super professional. At that time, for me as a child, to see that opened my eyes to a completely different world. And the world we live in today with a lot of technology shit, with the iPads, tablets and shit, it's almost anything is halfway literally possible, you know? Epic as hell. But like I always say, I'm going to end it here, and Hopefully you like this top 10 video of the 90s. Best year and decade of my life. Anyways, other than that, like I always say, see you when I see you guys. Peace out. I'm gone. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah, is what it is, ain't what it ain't. I should have said that earlier, but I fucked up there. That's how I am. Don't like it, get out, but if you do, got respect, loyalty, and dignity towards you guys. And like I always say, peace out, take care, and I will see you pretty soon, okay, guys? You guys have a good day, have a good night, wherever you're at in this universe, and I'll get back to you soon. Stay safe, happy Friday, and don't drink too much alcohol, smoke weed. I'm out, and, yeah, don't get hit by cars and shit. Talk to you later, peace out, deuces, I'm gone, and, happy Friday, people, I'm out. And like, comment, love, and I'm going to end it here. 3, 2, 1.